Tonight, the Braves' John Smoltz looks to join an elite group. Only two men have won 15 consecutive games in the National League since 1968. They are Bob Gibson with the Cardinals in '68 and Steve Carlton with the Phillies in 1974. John Smoltz looks to add his name to the list as the Braves face the Cardinals next.
We've got a couple of streaks on the line tonight as the Atlanta Braves go for their 7th straight, and John Smoltz goes after his 15th straight in Game 1 of a 4-game series between the Atlanta Braves and the St. Louis Cardinals. Hi, everybody. Pete Van Weren along with Joe Simpson welcoming you to Atlanta. Braves trying to win their 7th game in a row tonight. A lot of news since we were with you last. First of all, right after the game yesterday, the long-rumored signing of free agent outfielder Mark Whitten took place. Whitten, who was released by the Philadelphia Phillies, he was hitting .236 there, 7 homers, 21 RBIs. They elected to go with younger players. He was out there. The Mariners were after him. The Giants were after him. The Braves got him. And tonight he gets the chance, maybe tonight, later in the game, Joe, to show what he can do coming off the bench against the St. Louis Cardinals, a team very much in the hunt over in the National League Central.
And a team that Mark Whitten used to play for. When the Cardinals first got all their new players at the beginning of the year, in fact, a new manager and new coaching staff, everybody said it might take them a little while to come together and get to know each other and get used to playing together. And that's been the case because they've been playing much better baseball than when we saw them at the beginning of the year. Of late, they've had a little trouble hitting. Some of their guys that they're counting on to provide them with a little offense speed have been struggling. They've been slumping some on this road trip. Maybe the Braves can add to that tonight.
And, of course, all eyes tonight will be on John Smoltz as he tries to win his 15th consecutive game. He already holds the Braves franchise record. We'll be back with the starting lineups and all the action from Atlanta right after this.
It continues to be hot here in Atlanta. Temperatures in the mid-90s again today. And here's the Michigan starting lineup for the St. Louis Cardinals. Ron Gant in the leadoff spot, and he's done quite well there since coming off the disabled list. Followed by Ozzie Smith on his final trip through Atlanta as an active player. Ray Langford will bat third, then Gary Gaetti. John Mabry has been a great surprise for the Cardinals at first base. Brian Jordan, the former Atlanta Falcon, in right field. Bottom third of the order, Tom Pagnozzi, Luis Alicea, and Andy Benes. For the Braves defensively, same defensive alignment we've been seeing the last couple of days in the outfield. Klesko, Grissom, and Dye. On the infield, Jones, Blauser, Lemke, and McGriff. Javi Lopez behind the plate to catch John Smoltz, who, as most everyone knows, is on quite a tear. He's 14-1, and over his 14-game winning streak, his ERA 1.83. Only 4-8 lifetime against the Cardinals, 2-3 here in Atlanta. But he is not the same pitcher that the Cardinals are used to facing. As you look at his numbers, you see the 133 strikeouts against 24 walks. He has not walked more than 3 batters in any game this season. And over his last 2 games, in fact, he has not walked anyone. So he has been dominating everybody, Pete. Lefty's hitting 157, righty's hitting 194. It has been a sensational beginning of the season for John Smoltz.
It has, and he already owns, as we mentioned, the Braves franchise record for consecutive wins. Ed Rapuano, Terry Tata, Bill Hahn, Angel Hernandez, your umpiring crew tonight as Ron Gant steps in to lead it off and add one more streak that the Braves are going to try to keep going tonight besides the winning streak for John Smoltz and the team. 23 consecutive scoreless innings turned in by this pitching staff since the 6th inning in Friday night's game. And the first pitch on the way to Ron Gant. First pitch swinging, fly ball, deep left center field. Marquise Grissom looks up. There goes that streak of 23 straight scoreless innings on the first pitch tonight from John Smoltz. 8th homer of the year for Ron Gant. 1-0 St. Louis. Second time since Gant has moved into the leadoff spot that he has led off a game with a home run.
He did it in the first game on his return from the disabled list. And I have a feeling he just decided he was going to look fastball first pitch and jump on whatever was close. Got one down the middle and see ya. He has done some damage to the Braves since leaving this ball club.
1-0 St. Louis on the Gant homer, and now Ozzie Smith, who announced his retirement. A little bit of a controversy in St. Louis last week. He did not have the nicest things to say about his skipper, Tony La Russa. And although I don't think they really patched things up, they've gotten things out in the open. They say, let's just forget about it and get on with the season. Ozzie a little upset because he felt he had outplayed Royce Clayton and deserved more playing time than Royce Clayton, which he hasn't gotten this year. Here's the 1-1. Line drive, center field. That's going to drop in for a base hit. Marquise Grissom over. Gets the ball back to the infield. And Ozzie Smith moves up one more notch on the all-time hit list. That is career hit number 2,415 for Ozzie Smith. Look who he's tied with. He and Mickey Mantle, 82nd all-time. Mickey Mantle got a lot more mileage out of those hits than Ozzie did.
Yeah, but, you know, he doesn't get any credit for that, for having turned himself into a pretty good offensive player in the early stages of his career. It's all about his glove, but he became a pretty good offensive weapon also.
Now Ray Langford, 270, 14 home runs. Smoltz off to a shaky start tonight. First pitch swinging, line drive, left center field. That's in for a base hit. Grissom up with this one, stopping at second, Ozzie Smith. And it is very obvious tonight, Joe, that these Cardinal hitters are going up there looking for something to hit very early.
2 first pitch hits. And a good line drive by Ozzie Smith.
They don't want to fall in a hole against Smoltz the way he's been going. The batter will be Gary Gaetti. 249, 8 homers, 26 RBIs. He entered a select circle yesterday, becoming the 72nd player with 300 career home runs. But he's only 2 for his last 31.
Yeah, so much for those slumps we were talking about. Gant was 2 for his last 20.
First and second, nobody out. Pitch on the way to Gaetti. Comes up empty. The count 0-1. Cardinals a game under 500 for the year, but that's good enough to have them just 1 percentage point behind Houston in the National League Central Division. A little bit low, 1 ball, 1 strike. Gets by Lopez. The runners are going to advance. Ozzie Smith over to third. Ray Langford down to second. And this is a very different kind of first inning for John Smoltz, who had only given up 4 first-inning runs in all of his previous starts this year.
Thrilled a wild pitch, but I would have called it a pass ball. I don't think Hobby really went after this with much vigor to get his glove in front of it. Just tried to backhand it. Actually thought he caught it. That's a pass ball in my book. And hopefully John won't go immediately to all his breaking stuff, despite having given up a couple of fastball hits.
Here's the 2-1 on the way. Another breaking ball, and Rapuano says he went around. 2-2. John Mabry, who's been the Cardinals' hottest hitter this year, is on deck. 1 run in. Runners second and third. Nobody out. 2-2 on the way. Did Gaetti go? Or did he get a piece of it? They're going to appeal down to first. Terry Taylor says no, he did not go. So the count full 3-2.
A lot of breaking balls after giving up some hits on the fastball.
But the fastball has been the pitch for John Smoltz this year. He can't go away from that just because he gives up a couple of hits early.
It's been the key for him. He's established it early and hadn't messed with the breaking ball or the split finger pitch much early.
3-2, and he walked him. Still nobody out. Bases loaded here in the first inning.
First walk he's allowed in 3 starts.
John Mabry has been a very, very pleasant surprise for the Cardinals this year, as he steps in with a .332 batting average. 5 homers, 32 RBIs. Mabry currently 7th in the National League in hitting. Nobody out. Gaetti at first, Langford at second, Ozzie Smith at third.
You've got to have guys like Mabry step up and give you a few surprises offensively when you're a team that's not going to hit a lot of home runs, not going to score a lot of runs. And this team is 10th in runs scored, 13th in homers.
There's a strike to count 0-1.
That's why they went out and got guys like Ron Gant. They didn't expect him to go on the disabled list with a hamstring for 6 weeks. That's why they got Gaetti.
Outside, 1 ball, 1 strike on Mabry. Smoltz trying to get out of this with as little more damage as possible. Braves will take a double play here. They'll concede a run if they can turn 2. Fouled off by Mabry. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Well, and another thing that John's got to do in this first inning with the Cardinals jumping on him right away is not get in a big hurry. Gather himself a little bit, take a deep breath, get back into a rhythm that he's been accustomed to, and try to get out of the inning, as you said, Pete, without any more damage being inflicted.
Here's the 1-2 on the way, and there's no, he didn't hang on to it. It was a foul tip. Lopez had it and dropped it. So it's still 1-2 on Mabry. Cardinals dropped 3 out of 4 in the first half of this road trip in Montreal. Here's the 1-2. Fouls off another one. Still a ball and 2 strikes.
Pretty obvious, though, that Mabry's trying to pull everything. Trying to go out around anything on the outside part of the plate and bring it back to the right side.
Ozzie Smith at third, Ray Langford at second, Gary Gaetti at first. Nobody out. The 1-2. There's a strikeout, and now Smoltz with a chance to get out of this with only the 1 run scoring. If he can get Brian Jordan to hit into a twin killing.
John's mode of operation here recently has not included a lot of strikeouts early. He's acquired a bunch in the middle innings and later on in the ball game. Tonight, it really is a necessity for him to get a strikeout. He needed that one badly against Mabry.
Jordan at 265 with 5 home runs. He's only grounded into 2 double plays. He gets down the first baseline about as quickly as any right-hand hitter in the league, and there's a base hit left center field. That's going to get 2 runs in. Ozzie Smith scores. Langford around third, heading home. The throw will be late, and it's 3-0 Cardinals. RBIs number 30 and 31 for Brian Jordan.
First pitch, base hit again. And I believe it was a fastball. Take another look at the pitch. Fastball that came back over the plate a little bit for him, in fact. Nice play by Ryan Klesko to get to it quickly, but with Ray Langford running, he didn't have much of a shot at getting him.
So one of the biggest innings of the year off Smoltz. And still only 1 out for Tom Pagnozzi, hitting .322 with 4 home runs this year. Pops up the breaking ball, first base side, foul territory. McGriff, after a long run over near the Braves dugout, can't get to it. And the count 0-1.
John Smoltz, in his last start, wasn't there a great number of first pitch strikes, like of the hitters he faced, 24 of 27 or something like that?
Yeah, it was an incredibly high percentage.
And if the Cardinals advanced scout, was paying attention to that, he could have passed that along to the Cardinals coming in, and they could have been ready for this.
They have been very aggressive. And it's paid off. 3 runs are in. Runners first and second, 1 out. Here's the 0-1. Breaking ball missing. 1 ball, 1 strike, and Pagnozzi.
Something else in their team meeting, Dave Duncan could have been a guy that was instrumental also. He's their pitching coach, but he is a big proponent of first pitch strikes and the success ratios and how high they are for pitchers when you get ahead in the count of that first pitch.
Here's the 1-1. Off the outside corner, 1-2. There are your runners, Jordan and Gaetti. And the 1-2 on the way struck him out. Second strikeout of the inning. 2 gone, runners first and second. The 8th man to bat in the inning, Luis Alicea, will step in.
Pagnozzi spread his stance out a little bit, just tried to make contact, but came up empty on a good breaking ball.
Alisea in a slump, just 1 for his last 19, but usually hits Atlanta pitching well, although he's 0 for 7 lifetime against Smoltz. Ball 1, 9 away. Two and 0, the count on Alisea.
You mentioned his success against the Braves. Called Alisea the Brave Killer there for a couple of years.
Triples. He hit more triples against the Braves over that stretch.
And pulled the ball more than he had against any other team.
Smoltz ready now for the 2-0 pitch. And that caught the inside corner, 2-1. You have to go all the way back to opening day before you saw John Smoltz fall in a hole like this. It's not opening day, but his first start of the year against the Giants. They gave up a lot of early runs, then settled down. Braves were unable to come back. Here's the 2-1 pitch in the dirt. Good block by Lopez, but the count 3-1 now. And Alisea with the pitcher due up next.
And you see a different effort made on that ball, down and in, and basically the same location that Javi missed earlier.
Here's the 3-1 delivery. Bounces one foul on the right side. Full count 3-2. The runners will be off and running on this one. Very unusual inning this year for John Smoltz. He had been cruising, pitching with such ease and not throwing many pitches over the course of the game. He's thrown a lot of pitches in this first inning.
Pitcher on deck. He knows he's got a little room to work here.
Runners go. 3-2 pitch. He walked him on the check swing. No, he didn't. He went around, says third base ump Angel Hernandez. Alisea is a strikeout victim, so Smoltz strikes out the side, but also gives up 3 first-inning runs. And the Braves will have to come from behind if the winning streak is to continue for John Smoltz.
Braves will start from a hole tonight. They've spotted the Cardinals a 3-run lead. And in the bottom of the first, here's Bobby Cox's lineup. Marquise Grissom, Mark Lemke, and Chipper Jones the first 3. Fred McGriff will back clean up. Try to get out of a slump tonight. Ryan Klesko's in left field, followed by Javier Lopez. Jeff Blauser, Jermaine Dye, and John Smoltz, the bottom third of the order. And you notice that Jermaine Dye is still in there. For the Cardinals, Gant, Langford, and Jordan in the outfield. Gaetti at third base. Ozzie Smith at shortstop. Alisea and Mabry on the right side of the diamond. Tom Pagnozzi behind the plate. For Andy Bennis, who's 28 years old, 6'6", 245 out of Evansville, Illinois. Lately, he has been a better pitcher. He has not had a lot of runs to work with all year long, an average of only 3.7 runs per start. Lifetime 3-10 against Atlanta. You can see lately he has been pretty tough.
Marquise Grissom leading off for Atlanta, fouls back the first one 0-1. Grissom at 285 for the year. Hit safely in all 3 of the weekend games against the Giants. 1 ball, 1 strike. Two and 1.
Pete, quickly back to John Smoltz. You mentioned going back to that first start of the year against the Giants. In fact, those were the only first-inning runs he had allowed this year until tonight.
Down the right field line. That's a fair ball. Marquise Grissom rounding first, heading for second. Brian Jordan up with the ball. Lead-off double for Marquise Grissom to start the bottom half of the first inning. And Joe, in a team playing at home, falls into a 3-0 hole in the very first inning. There's nothing that gives you a bigger lift than a leadoff hit to start the bottom half.
Absolutely. And I was talking to Chipper Jones before the game on a radio interview, Pete. He talked a lot about how this ball club its hallmark almost has been other guys picking up others who might be down, whether it's some of the hitters picking up for Fred McGriff right now, or the offense picking up a guy who they are enjoying working behind John Smoltz. They are enjoying this winning streak, and they're going to do everything they can to help him keep it going.
Mark Lemke right at 300. 4 homers, 18 RBIs. Line drive, base hit, center field. Grissom will get the green light around third. Here comes the throw back to second. Grissom scores. It's 3-1. Lemke drives in his 19th run. And it looks like the Braves are going up there, Joe, with the same attitude that the Cardinal hitters did. Jump on that first pitch.
2 pitches, 1 run home. John Smoltz had thrown 4 pitches that allowed a run, and 2 guys were on base. A high pitch, too. Mark Lemke got a good one to pick on there. Marquise had to wait to make sure it wasn't caught, but didn't have to worry about a throw as Langford's throw came into second.
It's 3-1 now. Chipper Jones with a 14-game hitting streak, hitting .316 with 14 home runs. Ball 1 low.
He told me the ball looks real large to him right now. Looks like a softball coming up there because he's being patient. He said, I'm getting into good counts, good hitters counts, 2-1, 3-1, and I'm not missing my pitch.
1-0 pitch. Just off the inside corner, ball 2-2 nothing. Grounded toward first, fielded by Mabry. His throw to Ozzie Smith in time. The throw back to first, not in time, but did you see the throw Ozzie Smith made? You'd see a lot of shortstops who wouldn't even have gotten a throw off to first base from that awkward angle.
And if Mabry had given Ozzie just a decent throw, they would have turned the double play. He had plenty of time, but watch this throw by Ozzie.
Like a fast pitch softball pitcher.
Off of one leg, and no momentum moving toward first.
Chipper Jones aboard with 1 out now, and Fred McGriff, who is overdue, steps in. He's at .308 for the year, 19 homers, 63 RBIs, but only 3 hits in his last 43 at-bats. Takes a strike on 1.
He was at .341 when the homestand started, and he's at .308 tonight.
Boy, he had a cut at that high fastball. Didn't come up with it, though. 0-2.
Skip and I were talking about this yesterday, though, Pete. He's not striking out that much.
No.
He's putting the ball in play and hitting a lot of hard balls for outs.
And give the pitchers some credit. They've been making a lot of good pitches to him during this slump he's been in. He's been getting a lot of the balls off the handle, not off the fat part of the bat.
That's true.
The 0-2 on the way, and that missed upstairs. 1 ball, 2 strikes. First of a 4-game set between these two clubs. It'll wrap up this long homestand, which did not start well for Atlanta. Braves dropped 3 out of 4 to the Dodgers to start the homestand, but they've won 6 in a row, sweeping the Padres and then the Giants. Up the middle, base hit, center field, McGriff. Lemke will stop at second. I should say Chipper Jones. And runners first and second now with 1 out for Ryan Klesko.
That's a good start for Fred. Andy Bennis's last start, one of his better efforts of the year. He does have a shutout to his credit, but he worked 9 innings, a complete game against the Phillies, and beat them 3-2 on the 19th.
Klesko at .289 with 22 home runs. 1 out, runners first and second. Braves down by 2. We're only in the first inning. Ball 1 low. Klesko with 22 home runs. Henry Rodriguez of the Expos hit his 24th today for Montreal. Sammy Sosa leads the league with 25. Count 2-0.
In fact, Rodriguez hit another one, Pete. They're tied.
So he's tied now with Sosa. Out of play, 2-1.
Good cut. Ryan's balance is pretty good on that. His follow-through showed you that he was on the pitch, and his weight kind of took him, his follow-through kind of took him across the plate instead of away from the plate. He was right on it.
McGriff at first, Chipper Jones at second. One man out, one run in. It goes to 3-1 now in Klesko. Javi Lopez waiting on deck.
A lot of high fastballs, huh?
Yeah. It's living dangerously.
One of the better pitching coaches in the game right there, and Dave Duncan.
Here's the 3-1 on the way, and the breaking ball is ripped into right field for a base hit. Chipper Jones will be given the red light at third. Bases loaded. Good strong throw by Brian Jordan. And the Braves have loaded him up for Javi Lopez. And Dave Duncan out to the mound now to try to settle down Bennis.
There was a game like this, I think, against the Giants, wasn't it? First game against San Francisco, and they jumped on the Braves early. They got 3 runs off of Steve Avery. The Braves came back with a couple in the first, 4 in the second. Took Steve off the hook for a while. The offense has really responded for some of their starters at times when they get off to rocky starts, and maybe they can come through with a few more runs here in the first inning tonight.
Got to be a little frustrating for Bennis right now because, as you mentioned, Joe, he had not been getting much run support this year, and you get a 3-run first-inning lead, and all of a sudden you're in danger of giving those runs right back. Javi Lopez, 273 for the year with 10 homers. Klesko, McGriff, and Chipper Jones, the runners at first, second, and third.
John Smoltz got a big strikeout in the first inning with the bases loaded, and then gave up a 2-out, or gave up a single then to Brian Jordan. Actually, the bases were loaded and nobody out when he struck out Mabry, but certainly Bennis needs a strikeout here too.
Here's the pitch to Lopez. It's outside, ball 1. And Bennis been falling behind almost everybody. The 1-0 on the way, right through there for a called strike. 1 ball, 1 strike on Lopez.
Wouldn't you like to be a fly on the wall for that conversation right there?
You know, Greg Maddux talks a lot to Clarence Jones about pitching. He'll ask him things like, if you were hitting in this spot, what would you be looking for? Trying to get an idea of how hitters think. And it's not an uncommon twosome to see chatting in the Braves dugout.
The best are never satisfied.
No. 1-2, the count on Lopez. On the ground, right side, might be 2. He tags Klesko, runs to first, gets an unassisted double play, and Klesko had nowhere to go there. So Bennis gets out of it, allowing just the 1 run. And at the end of an inning, it's 3-1 St. Louis. It is 3-1 St. Louis. As we go to the top half of the second inning, it'll be Andy Bennis, Ron Gant, and Ozzie Smith due up against John Smoltz, who's given up runs in the first inning for the first time since his first start this year. Cardinals have a curious record this year in one category, Joe, and that's when they played day games on the road. That's, of course, in all the games in this series, night games, which the Cardinals are grateful for, but it's been a real troublesome spot for them. They're 1-11 in day games on the road, so much so that Tony La Russa held a team meeting after the Saturday night, or before the Saturday night game in Montreal, saying, boys, we got to play a little bit better on these day games. And he did something very unusual. He posted the starting lineup for both Saturday and Sunday, Saturday night. Didn't work. He'll never do it again. They lost anyway to Montreal, 3-2. Strikeout number 4 for John Smoltz. All 4 of his outs have been strikeouts. And now Ron Gant, who jumped on the first pitch of the game for his 8th homer of the year.
Let's see what he gets first pitch this time around.
It's the second home run he's hit against the Braves this year, and his 5th career homer against Atlanta since departing from the Braves. Strike at the knees, 0-1. Turned out to be a very unusual situation for Ron Gant and Bernard Gilkey, the Cardinals' former left fielder. Gilkey used to hit leadoff, goes to the Mets, he's hitting third, driving in runs. Gant used to hit third, goes to the Cardinals, he's hitting leadoff. Figure that one out. Here's the 1-1. 2-1. It's not unusual, though, is it, for Tony La Russa to have a guy with some pop at the top of his order? He likes that.
He does like that. He was blessed in Oakland with Ricky Henderson for most of the time he was spent there as the manager, so he didn't have to worry about that spot too much. But the Cardinals don't have what you would define as a typical leadoff hitter.
2-2 now on Gant.
That's why he moved Alicea into the 8-hole, because he'd rather have Alicea down there with some speed and maybe get on, bunt him over, and then have a guy at the top of the order with some pop that can drive in those guys at the bottom part.
Here's the 2-2 on the way. Full count, 3-2. He tried the breaking ball down and away, and Gant wouldn't go after it.
They tried Royce Clayton in the leadoff spot, but Royce struck out too much. He's not playing tonight, but he has struck out 50 times in 236 at-bats.
3-2 pitch. Just missed outside. Second walk issued by Smoltz. And now Ozzie Smith, who is now tied with Mickey Mantle for 82nd on the all-time career hit list. How about that?
Isn't that something? He's got all the Gold Gloves and all the All-Star appearances. But tonight he ties Mickey Mantle.
And you're right about him learning to be a good hitter at the major league level. When he first came up with the San Diego Padres, he was all glove. Very little bat. Didn't hit above 258 until his 7th season in the big leagues. The glove has always been there. And that alone will get him into the Hall of Fame. 2-0 the count.
And as you just said, we don't know what Tony La Russa's lineup's going to look like tomorrow night. But if you're in the area and get a chance to come by and see a game during this series, you ought to take advantage of it.
Good numbers throughout his career against Smoltz. Two and one.
I'll tell you something else that's fun. If you're coming to a game either here in Atlanta or if you see the Cardinals play somewhere on the road or in St. Louis, you ought to get there early enough to watch the Cardinals take batting practice and watch Ozzie take ground balls, because he has a knack of just feeling ground balls and throwing to second for double plays without looking. And never misses.
The big question is, when he does get inducted into the Hall of Fame 6 or 7 years from now, will he do a little flip when he gets on that stage? Would not surprise me. Here's the 2-1. It's upstairs, 3-1. Pitch is hit high in the air to right. Jermaine Dye waits for it. That's out number 2. Holding it first, Ron Gant. And that'll bring up Roy Langford, who had a base hit and came around to score in the first inning. 3 runs, 4 hits for the Cardinals. 1 run, 4 hits for the Braves, rolling in the top of the second.
And I think if John can get Langford here and get out of this inning without having allowed a run, you'll see a much more relaxed and aggressive John Smoltz in the 3rd inning.
Some pitchers will tell you that giving up a home run to the leadoff hitter in the 1st inning is sometimes the best thing that can happen to him. Kind of a wake-up call, but this team is just not going to come out here and take. Ground ball toward second. Lemke down on one knee, over to McGriff. And that's all for the Cardinals in the second. Bottom half of inning 2 coming up. St. Louis leads it 3-1.
Olympic trials completed yesterday over across the street, and now the stadium waits for the Olympics to begin. This telecast is authorized under broadcasting rights granted by the Atlanta National League Baseball Club and is intended solely for the entertainment of our audience. Any publication, rebroadcast, retransmission of the pictures or descriptions of this game without the express written consent of the Atlanta National League Baseball Club is prohibited.
Jeff Blauser will lead off here in the bottom of the second. Braves down by 2. It's 3-1 Cardinals. Blauser at .251, 9 homers, 27 RBIs, only 3 for 44 in his career against Venice. Pops up the first one, foul, 0-1. He'll be followed by Jermaine Dye and then John Smoltz. Into shallow center field, Langford coming on. He's got it, one down.
Ray Langford has not committed an error this year in center field. Not only that, he hit the longest ball in Busch Stadium since they started keeping track of distances back in '88 at Busch Stadium, and then later hit the longest home run ever hit at Coors Field. He hit it into the upper deck in right field.
Well, they measured that one at 480-some feet. Here's Jermaine Dye, .333, 4 homers, 9 RBIs, 5-game hitting streak. At the knees, 0-1. Bobby Cox says with the signing of Mark Whitten that Whitten will get some playing time, but that Jermaine Dye is his man for the moment. By the way, the Braves designated Tyler Houston for assignment. That was a tough break for Tyler. He had done pretty well. Ozzie Smith on to first in time. Kind of a victim of the numbers crunch, and the Braves looking for experience off the bench.
It's sometimes not fair.
Yeah.
You know,
that was what Tom Glavine said after the game yesterday. He said, you know, for every plus, he said, and it's always a plus getting a guy with power like Mark Whitten on your ball club is always a minus. Somebody has to go, and Tyler Houston was the man that was cut. Here's Smoltz hitting .205. High and away, ball 1. The way I understand it, within 10 days, if the Braves don't make a trade for Tyler Houston, he has the option of reporting or becoming a free agent.
Right.
Reporting to a minor league team, my guess would be he would opt to become a free agent if the Braves can't deal him. 1-1 the count. 2-1.
Well, he's got some pretty good pop in his bat. Left-handed hitting catcher, first baseman, and I think there are several teams that could use him if that's the case.
Count now 3-1 on Smoltz. 2 outs, bases empty. We're in the bottom of the second. Cardinals leading at 3-1. And John Smoltz draws a walk. And back we go to the top of the order. Marquise Grissom, who doubled and came around to score the Braves run in the first inning.
Venice has allowed 13 home runs this year, 6 to lefties, 7 to right-handers. Left-handers hitting .278 against him.
Looked like a little disagreement out there in the mound during that meeting between Pagnozzi and Venice.
Very disgusted with himself after the walk, either with himself or with his catcher, whatever the case might be.
One ball, no strikes on Grissom.
It looked like he tried to just rear back and throw that one as hard as he could and missed.
They'll field the first. He went. 1 ball, 1 strike. Off the handle towards second, fielded by Alicea on the first, and that's all for Atlanta in the second. So both pitchers settling down in the second inning after shaky firsts. 3-1 Cardinals after 2.
Top of the third inning, time to take a look at the Rogaine leaderboard. Today's category, the National League opponent's batting average against. John Smoltz came into the game with a pretty good lead over Al Leiter of the Florida Marlins. And remember, Leiter threw a no-hitter earlier this year. Steve Traxel, and that surprises me a little bit, of the Cubs in third place. Any word on Mike Grace of the Phillies? Have you heard anything about his shoulder?
And it's not good. It's sounding like he might not be able to pitch the rest of the year after getting off to that sensational start. I think he had 7 wins, including a shutout of the Braves.
Yeah, they didn't need that.
Gaetti walked in the first inning. He leads off here in the third. Cardinals up 3-1. One ball, no strikes on Gaetti. That evens the count, 1-1.
Gary Gaetti and Ozzie Smith, 2 of the last guys to hit without ear flaps. Rule imposed in the mid-'80s, and if you were already in the big leagues, you didn't have to. You were grandfathered in. You didn't have to adjust to the ear flap if you didn't want to.
1 ball, 2 strikes. Swing, says Terry Taylor. 2-2.
Most of the veterans, made that move on their own without being told to do so, and it's unusual for anybody to still be wearing it.
That's a fair ball down the left field line, headed toward the corner. Klesko is playing way off the line. He's got a long ways to go for it, and Gaetti will coast into second with an easy double. Hit number 5 off Smoltz.
He threw him a lot of breaking balls the first at bat, and threw him a couple in the early part of this pitch sequence before Gaetti one-hands that one over the bag. But you see anything a lot, whether it's a breaking ball or constant fastball, you're going to make an adjustment.
That'll bring up John Mabry, a strikeout victim in the first. 5 hits now for the Cardinals off Smoltz. Inside corner, 0-1. Rolls it foul, 0-2 on Mabry.
Another weird thing about Smoltz's first inning tonight, Pete, and also the fact that the Cardinals already have 5 hits, is that John started the game tonight with 119 innings, and he had allowed only 100 base runners, 76 by hits and 24 by walk. That's a great disparity in favor of the pitcher.
Now toward short, Blauser to his left. Only play on the first in time. Close play at first. Gaetti moves over to third. And the batter will be Brian Jordan, who singled into in the first inning.
And remember, he jumped on the first pitch, too.
Infield in for Atlanta with 1 out, runner third. First one upstairs, ball 1. In the air to right center field. Should be deep enough to score the run. Marquise Grissom makes the catch. Tagging the third is Gaetti. Here comes the throw, but it's off the mark. Gaetti scores, and the Cardinals lead it 4-1. Third RBI of the night for Brian Jordan. He's now driven in 32 runs this year.
I couldn't tell what the pitch was, but it looked like he wasn't trying to kill the ball, just make sure he got it out of the infield, and certainly got it deep enough for the sacrifice fly. Breaking ball that didn't break much. Looked like he'd tried to throw a slider, and it just didn't move much.
So the Cardinals up by 3 now with 2 outs, bases empty. In fact, Ozzie fouls off the first one. He was a strikeout victim his first time up. think if you asked Tom Pagnazzi if he could wish for any one thing for the rest of the year, what it would be, he would say, just stay away from injuries. Well, he has been banged up the last couple of years, including some time in the DL this year with a bad wrist. 2-1 to count. Broken bat roller towards second. Lemke on McGriff for out number 3, but the Cardinals pick up another run. A double by Gaetti, a sac fly by Brian Jordan, and it's 4-1 St. Louis as we go to the bottom of the third. Four runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 1 run, 4 hits for the Braves. They go to the bottom half of the third. It'll be Mark Lemke, Chipper Jones, and Fred McGriff go up against Andy Bennis.
Talking about the runs that John Smoltz has allowed this year when he's had some rough outings, and that first one in San Francisco when he got beat. We've talked about that when he's allowed. This is the 4th time this year he's allowed 4 or more runs out of his 17 starts. He had that one outing against the Phillies back in May where he won 11-8 and gave up 7 runs, but 6 were unearned, and they were all late. The Braves had a huge lead in that ball game, and the Phillies made it close. And then remember the start he had against the New York Mets recently on June 3rd. We got no decision in that contest. That snapped a consecutive start streak, but the Braves were able to win that game 5-4 and bail John out.
Well, they'll try to do it again here. Lemke with an RBI single in the first, takes a strike to the outside corner, 0-1. What a nice year he is having, up to 303 now for the season. Rips this one down the right field line. A fair ball into the corner. Lemke around first, heads for second. He'll go in standing with a leadoff double. Now the ball gets by Ozzie Smith, but backing it up is Ron Gant. And Lemke can go no further. Good start to the bottom of the third.
Pete, we talk about Chipper, we talk about Fred, we talk about Ryan because they hit the long ball and do all the good things to drive in runs, but the guy who probably gets overlooked more than anybody is Mark Lemke. Gives you great defense. He's hitting over 300 and coming back like gangbusters from that thumb injury.
That's hit number 5 off Bennis. It'll bring up Chipper Jones. He'll reach on a 3-6 force play in the first, trying to extend a 14-game hitting streak. 1 ball, no strikes. Yeah, I agree on Lemke, and I'm always amazed when they start talking about the Gold Glove second baseman. You very seldom hear his name mentioned, and I don't know of anybody that plays a better second base day in and day out than Mark Lemke.
I really thought he got shortchanged last year.
Yeah. 2-0 the count on Chipper Jones. Play to the left, 2 balls, 1 strike.
With the Braves' success against Andy Bennis in the past, these are the type of situations where when you're trailing already by 3 runs, you need to peck away at him. Put him in some more trouble, make it a close ball game, and hope you can capitalize on some opportunities later to come along.
2-1 delivery, line deep center field. Going back as Langford makes the catch, tagging at second. Lemke is going to be a close play at third. He is safe. Had that throw been a little more on target, might have been a different story. 1 down.
And a good idea by Mark. This was risky on his part. Chipper was trying to pull the ball to get him over to third base, and Mark decided that was good enough for him right there. Close play, but he beat it. You're right, Pete. That throw's on the money. They got him.
Fred McGriff had a base hit in the first inning. Up there now, the runner at third, 1 out. One ball, no strikes.
Lately, when Fred does see a fastball, it's usually right in there on his belt buckle. You were talking about how the defense and the opponents have been pitching him. They've been working him away a lot of breaking stuff.
In for a strike, 1-1.
It's kind of tough to get a lot of hits when that's what they're doing to you. Busting you in, then working you away. It's a weird cloud that's passing overhead right now. It's dropping a few raindrops on us.
Back out of play, the count 1-2.
Blue sky everywhere else, and even some sunshine off to the west, but just one cloud overhead.
I think we're in for weather like this for the next couple of months. Warm and muggy and a chance of showers every day about this time. Here's the 1-2. Popped him up. Mabry called off now by Alicea. Look at that ball go back. Alicea almost misjudged that one. Was able to hang on to it for out number 2.
The wind picked up a little bit too, and that cloud passed over. The flag starts out towards center field, and Luis did a good job just to hang with this one. It was hit a mile high.
2 gone. Runner at third now for Ryan Plesko. He had a base hit in the first inning. Strikes on Ryan.
Braves will take that base hit again. He hit it so hard they weren't able to score a run on that hit, but they certainly could here.
Out of play in the count, even 1 ball, 1 strike. Two men out, Lemke at third.
Ain't good enough now. It's driving a few fans back.
Isn't this strange? All that blue sky overhead and raindrops. 1-2 the count on Plesko. Now quite a few of the fans heading for cover. Hard to believe.
It's crazy.
As you look up overhead and all you see is blue, except for that one little cloud. Here's the 1-2 in the way, and it's blowing inside. 2 balls, 2 strikes on Ryan Plesko. This can't last very long. Can it?
Hopefully it'll distract Venice enough he'll make a mistake.
Ground ball, but Alicea makes a nice play, drops it, picks it up, recovers, and throws him out. And the Braves leave a runner at third in the bottom of the third. At the end of 3, still 4-1 St. Louis. Let's give you tonight's Aflac trivia question with John Smoltz rolling along with 14 wins already. Which player had 3 25-win seasons in the 60s and never won the Cy Young Award? We'll have the answer for you in the bottom half of the inning. I think I know that one.
Well, that's a good question right there. Luis Alicea will lead it off. Andy Bennis and then Ron Gant. Alicea struck out his first time up. He's 1 for his last 20. And raindrops keep falling. Smoltz has struck out 4 batters. They came in the first inning, and the leadoff batter in the second. Hit hard, but McGriff backhands it. Whoa! Fred playing on the edge of the grass in case Alicea tried to bunt. He barely had time to react. Good play.
Pulled it right toward the bag at first. McGriff with a backhand grab. That might have stung a little.
really coming down now, Pete.
I can't believe it. Neither can Terry Tate. He kept looking up at the sky between innings as if to say, how can it be raining? The sky is blue for the most part.
Dennis struck out his first time up. It's 1-1. 4 runs, 5 hits for the Cardinals. 1 run on 5 hits for the Braves. Cardinals did most of their damage in the first inning. I know, Terry, but it keeps coming down.
Probably feels good. Been so warm all day.
Up and into Bennis. That ball got away from Smoltz. Bennis had a look out at him, wondering what was up there, but obviously John lost the grip on that one.
Yeah, this one just slipped. He's not going to start throwing people down by 3 runs and ahead in the count 1-2 in the pitcher.
Temperatures really dropped too, Pete. Got him looking. That's strikeout number 5, 2 down in the 4th. Ron Gant hit the first pitch of the ball game over the center field wall. Cardinals went on to get 3 more hits and 2 more runs. They lead it now 4-1.
See the catch Ron Gant made in Montreal yesterday?
Oh.
He's glad to be playing outdoors tonight. David Segui hit a ball off the roof in Olympic Stadium, and Gant caught it. It was in fair territory.
0-1.
I didn't know you could hit a ball that high there in fair territory.
I was just going to say, I don't know which one I'm more impressed with, Segui or Ron. You got to launch one to hit the roof. The 0-1 pitch. A little bit high. John has walked a pair, including Gant, his last time up. Braves come in having won 6 in a row, and they're up 4.5 on the Expos. Good breaking ball, and he went around, says Ed Rapawano. 1-2.
Montreal already won their game today, beating the Pirates 11-3.
And if you weren't with us earlier, as Pete told you, Henry Rodriguez, a couple of home runs today. Ties Sammy Sosa for the league lead at 25. Tried to go to the same spot. Gant didn't offer. It's 2-2. Smoltz has not had a 1-2-3 inning, but he's 1 pitch away. The rain has lessened and just a little drizzle falling. 2-2 pitch, breaking ball, way outside, full count.
Looks like one of those paintings you buy when you go to Hawaii, isn't it? Underwater with the spires coming up.
And fish swimming through. Full count to Gant, 2 down. Fastball got him. On the corner. 2 more strikeouts. He's got 6 on the night. That's a good sign for John. A 3 up and 3 down inning. We go to the bottom of the 4th. But still 4-1 Cardinals.
Let's give you the answer to tonight's Aflac trivia question. Which player had 3 25-win seasons in the 60s and never won the Cy Young Award? Juan Marichal won 25 games in 1963 and in 66. Cy Young Award went to Sandy Koufax those 2 years. He won 26 games in 1968. That was the year Bob Gibson had the 1.12 earned run average. He won the Cy Young Award.
You were all over that, weren't you?
I knew that one.
That was barely off the screen when you were already writing his name down. Some of the folks got a little wet here during the showers that passed through, but right now just a light drizzle falling. And Javi Lopez will lead off the 4th inning for the Braves. He hit into a weird double play to end the 1st. To Hopper, off the glove of Gaetti. He'll try to catch the carom and throw him out. No way. A tough hop off the heel of his glove, and it'll go as a base hit for Javi Lopez.
Good recovery, though, by Gaetti. He had the right idea here when it kicked off the heel of his glove. Barehanded grab, and in the same motion throwing on to first, trying to complete the play, but too late.
Bases loaded, 1 out in the first inning. Lopez hit a grounder to Mabry at first base, and he had Ryan Klesko trapped. No place for Ryan to go, so he tagged Ryan and stepped on the bag for an unassisted double play. Jeff Blauser popped out to center his first time up. 1 for his last 14. He's averaged at an even 250 now. There's that final we were telling you about. Giants made their way down to Florida and got the first run tonight. Double dip at Chicago. The Angels and the White Sox. 1-1 to Blauser. He showed Bunt to try to draw Gaetti in. Let's see if it works. Minnesota's lost 3 in a row. That's the longest losing streak currently in action, along with San Francisco, who just left town when the Braves swept them. The Braves have the longest winning streak. Check swing. Should be an easy double play, and is.
Braves getting some base runners tonight, Joe, but can't do much with them. The double play hit into by Lopez with the bases loaded in the first inning. This one Taylor made after a leadoff hit.
That check swing, when you're not moving out of the box, you got no chance to beat that out at first. Yeah, that and the fact that they didn't get Lemke home from third base with 1 out, that may come back to haunt him too. Jermaine Dye grounded to short his first time up. He's hit in 5 straight. Good strike on a fastball at the knees. Fought it off, and he's going to get a base hit. One of the first things teams try to do against a player they don't know much about is they try to find out if you can handle a ball inside. They'll go in and out on you. They did that to Jermaine in this at-bat, and he fought this pitch off.
Well, he's got 2 things going for him. They'll try that, and they'll also try some breaking balls away and see if he can get those. He's a good breaking ball hitter, and he proves here he's quick enough to get around on an inside fastball. Broke his bat, but he's strong enough to drop it into left field.
And he's now hitting 6 straight. John Smoltz will try to help himself out here. 2 out. He drew a walk with 2 out in the second. And he has 8 RBIs on the year and a couple of doubles. Steve Avery leads the staff with 9. And the National League, obviously.
That's amazing. There are entire years that go by where the entire pitching staff doesn't have 8 RBIs in a year, or 9.
And the Braves as a staff have 20. Dye has good speed. Keep an eye on him, even with Smoltz up there. Hit hard, and a base hit to center. That'll keep the inning going. And were it not for the double play, the Braves would be in real good shape.
Well, they had a first inning where they scored only 1 run with 4 hits. Now here in the 4th inning, they've had 3 hits without a run scoring yet. It's going to take another 2-out hit to do any damage here.
Grissom got the Braves started offensively tonight in the bottom of the first. He doubled into the right field corner. Scored the only run of the night so far on a base hit by Mark Lemke. And then got jammed his last time up, hit a ground ball to second. They're hitting .333 over his last 16 games coming in. Lays off the slider. This is one of those times, kind of like Tony La Russa's theory, Pete, where you've got a leadoff guy who, when you get some people on in the bottom of the order, certainly capable of driving them all in.
Oh, very much so. He was a number 3 hitter for most of his career with the Expos.
Right. 1-1 the count. Marquise thought that was a little bit low. They play him straight away. Pretty good hole for him on the left side of the diamond. Gaetti pretty close to the line, and Ozzie Smith playing up the middle. Two and one the count. Went after a bad one. 2-2. He might have seen that hole and just decided he was going to try to pull something that way and missed badly. Braves have already stranded 4 runners, and there's 2 out there right now. Oh, did it hit him? Did everything but hit him. Full count.
Just kept riding in on him. I don't know how he got out of the way.
I don't either. Twisted away just in time, and now the runners have an advantage. They can take off. Dye from second, Smoltz from first. And it's in the dirt. He threw him a breaking ball, and Marquise didn't offer it that one. Bases are loaded for Mark Lemke.
Braves have had 8 hits. They've had 2 walks. And still only 1 run. We're only in the 4th inning.
Dye at third, Smoltz at second, Grissom at first, and here's another conversation between Pagnozzi and Bennis.
I was just thinking, Joe, when you were talking about the Giants losing 3 in a row here, the longest current losing streak in the National League, they can go down to Florida and they can say, well, we had to go into Atlanta and we got shut out twice, and people will shake their head knowingly. If you're the Minnesota Twins, you're playing tonight, so we were just in Detroit and we lost 3 in a row and got shut out twice. People are going to say, what? 2 different reactions to the same result.
Well, Mark Lemke's the guy you want up there tonight. He's 2 for 2 with a double off of Bennis. Bases loaded. And a little slow roller. Mabry's going to have to hurry. Good toss in time. The inning over. Braves strand 3 more runners. That's 7 stranded already through 4 innings, and it's still 4-1 Cardinals. Well, if nothing else, that passing rain shower cooled things off a little bit here at the ballpark. Light breeze still blowing out towards center, and the Cardinals still lead. If anything will work, that will work.
got the rally cap going, the tomahawk chop going. He's got it all going.
Just save it for the bottom half of the inning, fellas. Top of the 5th for the Cardinals. Ozzie Smith, Ray Lankford, and Gary Gaetti. Ozzie 1 out of 2. He singled in the first, scored a run. Bounces 1 to short. And 1 pitch, 1 out. Still gets down the line pretty well for a 41-year-old dude, doesn't he?
Yes, he does.
Ray Lankford 1 out of 2 also. He has scored a run. Mark Quitton, now that he's with the Braves, still in the top 10 in the league among strikeouts. Ray Lankford also in the top 10. He has fanned 61 times. He's 8th in the league in that category. One and on. 61 strikeouts. He's also got 37 walks. Leads the Cardinals in games, home runs, 14 runs scored, RBIs, total bases. Second on the team in hits and steals. 2-1.
Strikeouts have always been a problem for him. Though he struck out over 100 times each of the last 5 years. He led the National League in strikeouts in '92.
And didn't he got a little better, didn't he? From
Yeah, he went from
93?
147 to 111, 113, 110 the last 2 years.
2-1 pitch. Breaking ball. Good one. 2-2. Nothing real complicated about Ray Lankford's swing. He stands very straight at the plate. Very strong in his upper body, and he just holds his hands high and drops the head of the bat down on everything. Tomahawks everything. Hits that one hard, but right at Lemke. Second time tonight he's done that. 2 out in the 5th. Smoltz has retired 8 in a row. Gaetti, the last to reach on the double in the 3rd inning. Went to 3rd on a ground out, scored on a sacrifice fly by Brian Jordan. Braves have out hit the Cardinals 8-5. And John's just got to keep doing what he's doing. Hold the Cardinals and give the offense a chance. If they keep blowing opportunities to get back close to the Cardinals. Good cut by Gaetti, 1-1. That's out of play. Just when Gaetti, giving everybody the impression he was just about done. His numbers were dwindling. His average was sinking down after he joined California, went to Kansas City, and last year hit 35 homers and drove in 96 runs. He got a new contract as a free agent with the Cardinals.
Yeah, before he was with Kansas City, he was anybody's player that wanted him.
Yeah. Two pitch. Breaking ball. He tried to stop his swing and did. Full count. What do you think, Pete?
Borderline.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt on that one. Payoff pitch. Missed way inside, and he's walked in for the 2nd time. Gaetti's been on base 3 times. And the 3rd walk overall for Smoltz. John Mabry has struck out, grounded out, but his ground out very instrumental in that run being scored in the 3rd inning. He was trying to pull the ball, didn't get it to the right of the mound, but hit it up the middle enough that Gaetti was able to move to 3rd base. Blauser's only play was to 1st. In the hole, and Lemke can't get it. Gaetti stops at 2nd, and Mabry has his 1st hit of the night.
This infield always very quick, but maybe even quicker now with the rain that fell earlier.
See it throwing up a little rooster tail out there in the outfield, too. And that brings up Brian Jordan. He has driven in 3 of the 4 runs for the Cardinals.
That dirt surface of the infield very hard right now.
And that one seemed to pick up a little speed when it hit the skin part. 1st and 2nd, 2 out. A walk and a single, and Smoltz is in the suit again. Good fastball. 1-1 the count. Jordan came in struggling a little bit. 4 for his last 20. why he's got 3 RBIs already tonight. He's not missing opportunities to get runners home. A little low, 2-1. The 3 walks tonight by Smoltz. Matches a season high. He's done it 2 other times. Breaking ball fought off down the right field line, but Jermaine Dye under it makes the catch in foul territory, and the inning comes to an end. Smoltz gets out of it. Cardinals come up empty. They strand a couple. We go to the bottom half of the 5th inning. Skip Terry and Don Sutton head your way. It's 4-1 St. Louis.
Bottom of the 5th inning. Braves trail at 4-1 as they come to bat. Skip and Don with you the rest of the way. It has been a strange night for the Braves. A lot of base runners, but they were pushing back.
Yeah, very, very frustrating night. 4 hits in the 1st inning, 1 run, 3 hits and a walk in the 4th inning, no runs. That's not so good.
And for John Smoltz, a strange night. He's been getting the strikeouts, but the Cardinals have been bunching hits against him. He just pitched himself out of a pretty good jam with 2 outs in the top of the 5th. But trails at 4-1. Chipper Jones to lead it off. A 14-game hitting streak on the line. 34 consecutive games he has reached base. But as you can see, 0 for 2 tonight. Dennis's breaking ball is wide, and it's 1-0. In the air to center. That should hang up for Langford. In a couple of steps now, backpedaling. And Chipper Jones goes quietly to lead off the 5th inning. And Fred McGriff will be the hitter. McGriff 1 out of 2, a single. And he popped to second. Almost got a break on that pop up to second. It was just before the rain came, and it was a wind blowing pretty good from the 3rd base line toward right field. And Alicea almost lost it. Another breaking ball from Dennis. Low, 1-0. McGriff, 4 out of his last 39. That is high and deep to right field. And caught. A good play by Brian Jordan. He didn't panic. He went right to the wall and made the catch, and McGriff comes away a foot or 2 shy.
That really is an outstanding play, and when you're going good, this ball sneaks over. When you're scuffling, as Fred has been recently, you don't get quite enough of it. He found the wall and timed it nicely. If you get too close to that wall, when you start to jump, it bangs into your shoulder, but he played it right.
Good play for Jordan. Here's Ryan Klesko. He's single, and he's grounded to second. He takes strike 1. Grissom led off the game with a double. Lemke single. Chipper Jones grounded into a fielder's choice. McGriff and Klesko single, but Javi Lopez grounded into a double play turned by Mabry at first. 1-1 to count. Part good play by Mabry, and part a little bit of a base running confusion by Ryan Klesko. To second. Klesko late breaking. Should be an easy play for Alicea, and a 1-2-3 inning for Andy Bennett. We have completed 5. It's 4-1 Cardinals.
Before we go to the 6th inning, here's a look at the Budweiser game summary. John Smoltz a bad first. Andy Bennett a bad first. I guess the big news, Cardinals have left 5, Braves have left 7. Mark Lemke, the hitting hero, and Gant and Jordan have done the job for St. Louis.
Smoltz a little slow getting his warm-up tosses in. They had to come do a little gardening at home plate, but it's all set. Now they're working on an area out around first. Best grounds crew in all of baseball here.
I wonder if Klesko's, let's see what his complaint is here. I don't know if he felt like he was interfered with or whether it's just because the batter's box is so wet.
I think it was a batter's box because he said something. They got to fix that box, man. And they did. And they're also going to do some work out at home plate. I mean, out on the pitching mound. They've done the work at home plate. Grounds crew there now putting some of the drying agent out there.
That rain was one of the sneakiest in the history of baseball, wasn't it?
Came from out of nowhere. The only clue you had was there was still sun, but it got an eerie color. It was almost like an orange color here at the park. But they were right on top of it. We should have been. Anytime you want to know if it's going to rain here or not and you're at the ballpark, watch down the right field line near the bullpen where the tarp is stored, because if they start, Ed Mangan's ground crew starts assembling right down there, then head for higher ground.
But they weren't down there. This even fooled them. They didn't expect it either.
So they're still doing a little work. I'll say hello to Merlene Hare down in Albany, who's a big Braves fan, also a big Statler Brothers fan. I suppose you've been watching the show on TBS about country music, being the big country music fan you are.
Honesty compels me to report that that is not my cup of tea.
A lot of people in country music like the Braves, and they watch all the time. While we have a moment here, let's catch you up on some of the scores. Montreal beat up on Pittsburgh. Florida by 1 over San Francisco. They're in the 7th inning of that one. Philadelphia and Cincinnati. Cincy pounding. I think Brett Boone hit a home run in that, didn't he?
And Willie Green, the kid from down near Bainbridge, did too.
Jason Isringhausen on the mound, 1-0 over Colorado. In the American League, Chicago doubles up on California, the first of 2. And they're leading a third of the way through game 2 of that series. Minnesota in Minnesota leading 1-0 over the Yankees. Baltimore, that's news for them. Lately they've been giving up a lot of runs. So that's it on 2 bases. The ground screw's gone and the scoreboard's gone.
Let's see, if this was New York, they would have left that little scooter out there for a couple of fits.
That up would be So Smoltz is ready. The field is ready. We're ready. Pagnozzi will lead it off. Luis Alicea to follow, and Andy Bennis in the 3rd spot. A bit outside, 1-0. 4 runs on 6 hits for the Cardinals, 1 run on 8 hits for the Braves. Smoltz now approaching 90 pitches. It's approaching it. Normally, though, when he's been on such a good roll, he's had better than 2-to-1, sometimes a 2.5 and 3-to-1 ratio. More pitches out of the strike zone tonight. One and 2 the count. Do it. And for Smoltz, that'll be his 7th strikeout.
What he's got to do now is go as long as he can, as hard as he can, and just hope that his teammates can rally. You just don't have time on that pitch to say no to yourself, do you?
Yep, especially after the way he's been throwing the fastball. He put that in a good spot. John is having to do a form of damage control. He got touched for 3 in the 1st inning, but he's only allowed him 1 since, pitched in and out of some jams. He's twice gotten out Alicea, struck him out swinging to end the 1st inning, and then got him out on a liner to Fred McGriff. McGriff had creeped in on the grass, and Alicea turned on the first pitch, almost handcuffed McGriff. Outside corner, 1-1. June has not been kind to Luis Alicea. Might be this time, though. A little looper, squirter off the end of the bat. A topspin lob single. hit number 7 for the Cardinals. And they'll bring up Andy Bennis, who probably will be asked to bunt him along.
This game will run you nuts. It just about killed McGriff the last time with a wicked shot. Nothing but an out. Here he hits one right out the end of the bat and dunks it in there.
Not every out is on a good pitch. Not every hit's on a bad one. Good-looking bunt. That'll be sacrifice number 5 for Bennis. Alicea moves up 90 feet.
Here's a good look at it. You see Chipper charging hard, but he goes the other way with the bunt, and McGriff has no choice but to take that up.
That's a good indication of the philosophy that Gene Mauch used to have. He would say, if they're going to give you an out, take it. Don't try to make a spectacular play. And Fred McGriff, it would have been bang-bang at second. So now, all of a sudden, if they're going to score, it's a one-out inning for them. 2 outs now. As Ron Gant comes to bat, he picked on the first pitch of the game and hit it over the center field fence. His 8th homer, his 29th RBI of the year. Outside, 1-0. Since then, he has walked and struck out looking.
Can you believe we played him around toward right? The way he used to pull the ball when he played here?
No, and that's in the outfield. The infield almost puts a Bonds-type shift on him, but the outfield, I guess you know what they figure, Skip, is if he's going to hit it in the air, it's going to be off the fastball, and he's going to be late on it, but if he's going to pull, it's going to be a breaking ball. Normally, they're pulled on the ground. That one wasn't, and they were lucky to get away with it.
Oh, boy, that's an all-time hanger there.
Now, that one would have been pulled in the air and maybe for a souvenir. There's a good example. Not all strikes are on great pitches. 1-1. There's a perfect pitch. 1-2.
He's got a 5-year deal with the Cardinals, does Ron Gant.
The batting average might say .227, but it's numbers like you just saw that will impress the opposition and your manager. That'll lower it considerably. Strikeout number 8 for Smoltz, and the Cardinals leave a runner in scoring position. No runs, a hit, no errors, and 1 left. We move to the bottom of the 6th, 4-1, still the score. Bottom of the 6th inning, John Smoltz getting some ice towel from Jeff Porter. And just prior to that, a little conversation between Bobby Cox and John Smoltz. Terrell Wade up in the bullpen. You get the feeling that if anybody gets on, that might be the end of the night for John Smoltz.
Here's a look at that conversation you alluded to. Well, actually, that's... Here we go. And John saying, "You're going to hit for me?" And I think the answer is yes. Well, we'll soon see.
Javi Lopez will lead it off. He looks at a ball delivered by Andy Bennis. Lopez, 1 out of 2, grounded into an unusual double play in the first inning. That's high and deep to left center field and out of here. I can't wait to see if he got a breaking ball for a strike to hit. He keeps wearing out breaking balls and keeps getting more of them to hit.
You know, he doesn't look as strong as Ryan Plesko, but I'm not so sure about what he is. Look how easily he swings the bat. And it was a breaking ball, it looked like, and a pretty good pitch.
A knee-high breaking ball over the heart of the plate to him is like throwing a belt-high fastball to everybody else. Here's Jeff Blauser, and there's the belt-high fastball. It's 0-1. For Javi Lopez, his 11th homer, his 35th RBI. It's a 4-2 ball game. 11 home runs, 9 of them with nobody on base. Strike 2 to Blauser. Venice started to throw and then changed his mind. He looks like he's getting a little bit of a pep talk from Tom Pagnozzi.
It's just a mystery to me how this guy can be 4-8 with this stuff.
In the dirt, 1-2. He has a good fastball. He has a good breaking ball. He changes speeds well. He's big enough to be a tight end in the NFL. A little outside, and it's 2-2.
6'6", 245 they have him listed. And he's now 80. Coming in tonight in 85 as a major league pitcher.
Before you close up, what was his best year? Pitched a Blauser foul back our way. What was his best year?
Well, they're all pretty much 90. He was 10-11 at San Diego. 91, he was 15-11. Then he was 13-14. Then he was 15-15. Then he was 6-14. Last year, 4-7 at Seattle, and then at San Diego, 7-2.
The 15-11 year, about a 3 earned run under?
Yeah, 303. That was his best year.
223 innings. The most he's ever pitched is 231. He's run to count full. The Blauser 3-2. Strikes out a lot of guys. He's averaging about 170 a year. Payoff pitch to Jeff Blauser. On the ground. Tricky hop for Gaetti. Long throw, good stretch. There's the first out of the inning, and it will bring up Jermaine Dye, and John Smoltz makes his way to the on-deck circle, but Terrell Wade continues to throw in the Braves bullpen.
It may have to do with what Dye does. If he gets on, they may pinch hit. If he doesn't, they may... We'll see. They might let John go. It's been a strange game, hasn't it? All the wasted opportunities and all the action in the first inning.
Even with the sneaky thunderstorm. First pitch to Dye. Another chance for Gaetti. 2 outs.
So he will hit for himself now with 2 out, nobody out.
You know, an inning like this is really tough on a relief pitcher, especially one like Terrell Wade, who is learning really how to be a relief pitcher and how to prepare for it, because you want to crank up and you want to get ready, but you don't want to throw too much. So what Terrell Wade did was get almost ready and then see what was going to happen with John Smoltz. Now he can go sit back down, and it won't take him but a second to get ready next time. First one, the Smoltz foul back to the screen. It's 0-1.
And middle relief, boy, it's Otis time. Like the elevators, up and down, up and down, up and down.
And 2 to Smoltz. And unfortunately, you see a lot of managers in baseball who, when you get up and throw like that, maybe you do that 4 or 5 days in a row, and then if you have trouble getting anybody up the 5th day, it's, how can you haven't pitched in a week. 1, 2, 3, and Smoltz will head back to the dugout. So the Braves get one, a long ball off the bat of Javi Lopez that looked just like that. To the 7th, 4-2. Tune to TNT this Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. for the NBA Draft. Ernie Johnson Jr., Hugh B. Brown, and Rick Pitino host the coverage of all the picks along with interviews and analysis from a cast of thousands. It's all live from the Meadowlands Wednesday at 7:30 on TNT. To the 7th we go. Take it away, Skip.
Okay, Don, thanks. Ozzie Smith will lead it off. He's 1 for 3. The Braves have 9 hits. Just 2 runs. They trail 4-2. Ozzie ran up to bunt, took a strike.
Gave you a clue he was going to try that, didn't he? Did you see as he was getting ready for the pitch, he kept sneaking a look to see how far back Chipper Jones was. A little look there, too.
The 0-1. Just missed the ball and a strike. Smoltz still very much in this game, and so are the Braves. John has been in spots like this earlier this year and wriggled off the hook. Maybe it'll happen again. 2 balls and a strike.
Almost a duplicate of this game.
Yeah, the Braves bailed Smoltz out June 3rd against the Mets after he left the game down 4-1. Braves ended up winning 5-4. That's trouble in the right center field. Can Dye cut it off? Yes. We'll hold him at first base. Ozzie can still play a little bit. This is just his 17th start of the year. But he has his second hit. Here's Ray Langford. Langford tonight has singled and scored and twice grounded to second.
That showed you something about his personality at first right there, Ozzie Smith. Let's face it, he has played a ton of ball games. Dave McKay is his coach, but he listened and repeated what he said and nodded yes, and that's why a coach is there. And when a guy like Ozzie Smith can listen and do what he wants to, then you know it's got to be the right thing for all the guys with lesser experience.
He's a class act, no doubt about it. Steve Rank, good live fastball to Langford. He thought it was high, 0-1. Ozzie, a pretty good lead over there, but he's not running. Downstairs. If you want to read a personality profile about John Smoltz, you get an exclusive look at childhood photos from the Smoltz family album by the July Chop Talk. Call 1-800-700-CHOP. Official monthly magazine of the world champion Braves. 1-800-700-CHOP. 1-1 pitch. Throw to first, turn it back. I'm never going to be breaking in my family album, I tell you. 2-1 the count. 4-2 the score. The leadoff man on here in the 7th for the St. Louisans. Langford out of the batter's box. Since that rain, it cooled it off for a little bit. Now it is really muggy. And they say the weather's not going to break for about 10 days. We'll go down to Miami and cool off.
Yeah.
Foul step back. 2-2 the count.
Set your clock by that 5 o'clock thunderstorm every day. 89 degrees and 91% humidity. Could be nice in Montreal, though.
Could be. Could be nice in the ballpark. The roof is permanently shut now, isn't it?
Took a lot of crazy glue, didn't it?
Yes. Into the dirt. He's run it full. Now let's see if Ozzie runs with no one out. Langford strikes out a good bit, but he's got tremendous power. He has 14 homers, leads their team in that department.
Most of the time in this ballgame, John Smoltz has gone to the breaking ball for his strikeout, so pretty good odds he will try it again. That's a tougher pitch for Javi Lopez to dig out and throw out a base runner, so the odds would favor the Cardinals if they want to send him 3-2, even if he strikes out.
There he goes. He did not strike out. That's into the alley, and Ozzie will score. Let's see how far Langford gets. He's around second. He's going to pull in there. They got the run right back, and it's 5-2. And that'll get the bullpen going again for Atlanta. Langford drives in his 45th run. A rocket shot into right center.
And it was a 3-2 breaking ball. Watch it come right into his hands and just hung there. You get a hanging breaking ball to a guy who is a breaking ball speed hitter, you swear the ball comes up with a smile on it. Just wait for you to hammer it. And it crosses up the defense, too, because they had him set to play the other way. He hasn't had to do that very often with Smoltz on the mound this year.
Ground ball to the right side, trying to move the runner over by Gary Gaetti, but he fouls it off 0-1. You saw Pedro Borbon, Brad Plants in our bullpen, and now you see them again. And they're still there. Langford has excellent speed, 13 out of 16 in the stolen base department. Lemke trying hard to keep him close over there, or he might be sliding into third.
Excellent speed, and he's a good base runner.
Line drive to McGriff out there. Nobody can cover. There's a case where a guy does his job very, very well and doesn't get rewarded. Gaetti hit the ball hard. He hit the ball to the off field, but unfortunately for him, right at him.
Twice he took shots over there.
John Mabry, the batter, 1 for 3. They're going to put him on. Not a bad idea. He's hitting .332 coming into the game. And he's 1 for 3 tonight. The walk. Number 4 for Smoltz. It is intentional. But a tough out coming up next. Brian Jordan has 3 RBIs in the game. He's 1 for 2 with a sacrifice fly. I'm sure you know he used to be a defensive back for the Falcons. And a good one. Strong safety. So they're at first and second with 1 out. See if Bobby comes popping out of that dugout. I guess not.
I'll tell you how good a streak Smoltz has been on. He hasn't been in enough jams and had enough situations pop up where he has had to intentionally walk anybody prior to that one right there. That's the first one of the year.
That's a very good point. Now a huge lead for Mabry at first as McGriff plays wide of the bag. That could come into play if there's an infield grounder that they try to turn a double play on.
Jordan has been hitting the ball center and right off of
that center, and that's well hit. Grissom back to the wall, looks up, it's gone. 3-run homer. 6 RBIs on the night for Brian Jordan, and this game is a horse of a different color now. That ball was socked to straightaway center. 6 RBIs for Brian Jordan. He should have stayed with football if you're a Braves fan. It's now 8-2. And that's going to do it for John Smoltz. Bobby Cox went probably further with him than he normally would.
both of the balls that were hit for home runs. John Smoltz wanted to go down and away with them, but got him up and out over the plate. When you get a guy as strong as Gant, a guy as strong as Jordan, and they get a pitch that they can handle, usually that is going to be the result.
Listen to the hand for John Smoltz. They're on their feet here. That's a great sight. Not tonight, John. Back after this. Line on John Smoltz for the night, 6 1/3 innings, 10 hits, 8 runs, 4 walks, 1 of them intentional, 8 strikeouts, 1 wild pitch, 2 home run balls, and he leaves the game down 8-2. Big night for Brian Jordan, 6 RBI.
That hasn't happened very often to John Smoltz, but like Walter Alston used to say, and Red Adams, the pitching coach, every pitcher who straps on a toe plate is going to have that happen once.
114 pitches for John, 68 strikes, 46 balls.
How about do a little checking and see if that's an RBI high for Brian Jordan?
If not, it's pretty close, I would think. It is now 8-2. And the Cardinals lead in hits 10-9. It's been one of those kind of nights. Downstairs, 1 ball, no strikes for Tom Pagnozzi, who's been red hot, but is 0 for 3 tonight with a couple of strikeouts.
That is his career high, Jordan's, in RBIs.
Right in there this time. It's 1-1.
Prior to that, 5 on July 1st, 1993 against the Phillies.
He had 29 coming in. He's got 35 now. That's not too shabby. And right in there. Jason Schmidt and Todd Stottlemyre tomorrow night, then Steve Avery and Alan Bennis, and then Maddox and Mike Morgan. That's 2 old teammates going against one another. Then we hit the road for Florida in Montreal. A ball and 2 strikes. 1 out, nobody on, but 4 runs have crossed the dish. Alicea waits on deck. Just did stay alive. Count stays the same, 1-2. That was great to see the fans give Smoltz that kind of hand when he came off the field. Not for tonight, but for the great run he's had for the Atlanta team. Got it. Hat trick for Pagnozzi tonight. His 3rd strikeout. First for Brad Kluntz.
Good breaking ball. Javi Lopez sets up outside, wants it there, right over the outer edge. The guy throws him down under. You're heart is not totally in it most of the time if you're a right-hander anyway, and then when he paints the outside corner, you just kind of give it a token wave.
Strike to Alicea. Clance now takes the lead in appearances with 39. Bob Patterson of Chicago has 38. Mark Wohlers has 35. Greg McMichael also 35. So our guys get to pitch a lot. Who wants it? Fisher. And the inning is over. But not before. 4-run score on 3 hits. No errors, nobody left. Bottom of the 7th. 8-2 St. Louis. He was okay pitching for those really bad clubs. The guys like that. Huh? Oh, well, no cues. We go to the bottom half of the 7th inning. Marquise Grissom leads it off. Smoltz's ERA from 226 to 271. The wind and the pitch to Marquise. Low and outside, 1 ball, no strikes. Ground ball deep short. Ozzie up. Ozzie unloads. High, good tag, 1 out. Mabry, a good play to save Ozzie Smith an error, 1 down.
We've heard what a good hitter he is. What gets lost a lot of times when you're a good offensive ball player is what a good defensive ball player John Mabry is. This is not an easy play. Up the line, catch the ball, and make the tag all in one swoop and stay out of the way of the base runner. Good play.
Mark Lemke's had a good night, 2 out of 3, and RBI to his credit. Venice appears to be breezing now. He's got a big lead, 8-2. The 0-1 pitch. High and outside, a ball and a strike. Two balls and a strike. Darrell Wade up again in the Atlanta bullpen.
Sometimes a big lead will do one of 2 things to a pitcher, Skip. Either guys will not be able to throw strikes at all, or all of a sudden you'll see nothing but strikes, one right after the other, and makes it a cakewalk for a guy.
Well, I know how much you used to love this kind of situation.
Oh, here it comes. Hit it.
Fastball up and away, try to pull it.
Yeah, take the short part of the ballpark out of play, and then if you get a chance to finish a guy off, the one thing you didn't want to do ever with a lead like this is you don't want to walk people.
3 balls, 2 strikes.
Because you have 8 guys out there with the same color uniform on with gloves, and you want them to have them on for a reason.
Well, that Mabry, you can pick it around first base, 2 out. And Chipper Jones, the batter. Chipper has a 14-game hitting streak on the line. Tonight he is hit into a forced play, lined hard to center and flied to center. Strike call, fastball outside corner.
They have another guy on that ball called Mark Sweeney that is a similar type hitter that we keep hearing a lot of good things about.
He's hitting in the 270s, I think.
When you look at his numbers, 23 walks, only 21 strikeouts, and about 140 at bats.
2 balls and a strike. It's even now, 2-2. On the talk show tomorrow, I bet somebody's going to call and say, what's wrong with Smoltz?
Yep.
3-2 again. Bennis upset with himself. He knows he's got a big lead, and he should be throwing strikes. But he hasn't walked anybody since the 4th. Still has a line drive left. On comes Gant. He's got it. And the inning is over. 1, 2, 3, nothing doing. He has set down 6 in a row since the Lopez homer. At the end of 7, your score. Cardinals 8, Braves 2.
On top of Texas, Ripken a home run, his 15th. Detroit at Oakland, and you're up to date completely on the Delta scoreboard.
Danny put Bautista in the game to play center field. Terrell Wade on to pitch for Atlanta.
Looks like we're going to have a pinch hitter.
Yeah, Royce Clayton is going to come out and hit for Bennis. Surprisingly. But it's a hot night, and he's throwing a lot of pitches, too. Braves have had base runners all over the place. Terrell goes to work, and Clayton takes a strike. He's hitting 267. He's been virtually the everyday shortstop this year, but when Ozzie heads off the field, that'll be his job. He's a fine-looking young player. I was amazed the Giants gave him up.
Yes. The 3 pitchers, none of whom are real head turners.
A ball and a strike to count. He's a fine defensive shortstop. He's got great speed and a little pop in his bat. 1 and 2 to count. Got it. Clayton out on strikes, 1 down. Brad Clounce went 2/3 of an inning, struck out 1. Wade strikes out the first man he faced.
Nasty slider. Starts it out in the strike zone, breaks it down and right under the bat. He threw him 2 of those. Well, Wade now with 24 strikeouts in just over 21 innings. I'd be surprised if he does that a lot.
I just wonder how his career is going to wind up. Is it going to be in the bullpen, or is it going to be as a starter? It'll be interesting to see.
If he's going to start, I think he's going to have to add 1 more pitch. Right now, out of the bullpen, you can work with 1 super pitch or 2 pitches. He has a good fastball, a good slider.
There's an off-speed pitch, and he fouled it back. One thing about it, Don, I'm sure you'll agree with me, is Matt would argue.
Which would be a first.
Yeah. But a young kid like this gets into the major leagues, I think, in the perfect situation. He's not your closer. He doesn't start, so he doesn't have all that weight on your shoulder. He gets to learn as he goes. That ball is rifled to Klesko. He's played 2 down.
And being around Terrell Wade this year, his personality is such. He's an easygoing, low-key type guy. I think if he were a tense-up type, high-strung type guy, you couldn't bring him along slowly like they're doing. I believe he has the potential to do either one for the Braves successfully. And I also believe in watching him. He's an intelligent kid. If you're around him, he can learn that 3rd pitch.
And I think it'll be easier for him to learn it once he knows, as he has proven to himself this year, he can get major league hitters out. He won't be as afraid to throw it as a guy might be who's just trying to make points and make the team. A little chopper back past the mound. Good play. Good throw. And Wade gets him 1, 2, 3 in the 8th. We go to the bottom half of the inning. A long mountain to climb. It's 8-2 St. Louis. Rick Honeycutt on to pitch for the Cardinals. The veteran left-hander. Boy, he's been around. Doing all right. No record. 3.38 earned run average. A couple of saves. He's appeared in 28 games. Were you and he ever teammates?
No. Had a lot of them, but I missed that one.
He will be 42 years old. 5 days hence on the 29th of June.
They have two specialists out of that bowl over there, Tony Fosas being the other one. Guys who are just there to get out left-handers, and then if you need somebody to get you to the 9th inning to your closer or do some actual, it's not really mop-up duty when you're leading, but you don't want to go to your primo guy leading 8-2 normally.
This guy's been in the major leagues since the end of the 1977 season. He has been around a while.
That is Dinners Eckersley on your right.
His best year was at Texas. He was 14-8 with a 2.42 earned run average in 83
as a starter, right?
Yeah. Then they traded him to the Dodgers, and that deal, funny how things work out, is what prompted the deal that sent Brett Butler and Brooke Jacoby and Rick Fahenna to Cleveland for Len Barker. A deal that did not work out so well for Atlanta. That one got Pagnozzi on the shingo.
And one which was very disappointing to your partner.
Why is that?
It was rumored that he had this direction at that time.
Oh, yeah?
They were looking for a veteran pitcher.
A lot of things would be different today. I bet if that had happened, huh? You'd probably have a crew cut. I'd weigh 170 pounds.
I don't think so. On the crew cut part.
High fly ball left field. That's playable. Good to see Fred going that way. He is really struggling. One down. McGriff now 4 out of 47. 1 for 4 tonight. Here's Ryan Klesko, 1 for 3. Looks like Chipper Jones' hitting streak is only a memory now at 14 games.
This whole ball game hinges around the first inning.
Absolutely. I'm not so sure it doesn't all hinge around the first pitch. Ground ball, good play. I'll see. He's a fine little play. 2 out. Gant hit the first pitch fastball for a homer. You mentioned on radio now you got to stay with your fastball. I imagine that's hard to do when the first one gets raked.
But it had worked so often for John, and then he went to some breaking balls, gave up some singles. But the Braves had a chance to rebound in the bottom of it. Grissom got a single, Lemke got a single, Chipper Jones grounded into a fielder's choice, and McGriff got a single, Klesko got a single. But when Javi Lopez grounded into that unusual double play unassisted at first base, he gets a base hit there. It's a tie ball game.
Javi is 2 out of 3, but if he could have just twisted him around, it would have been much better. That ball just ate Gaetti up on the wet track. Should be a hit. Let's see.
9 times out of 10, when you start backing up, if you're a third baseman or a first baseman, you're a dead duck. Low and in, up. When you go back, you let the ball play you. In recent years, I have only seen one third baseman who can give the ball the last shot and then counterpunch and make the play, and that's Terry Pendleton. He's a guy who will back up and it's almost say, okay, bring me your best shot, and then his reflexes are good enough for him to make the play.
They score that in the air. I would not have, but who cares? Jeff Blauser, the batter, looks at one down and in, 1 ball, no strikes. 8-10-1 for the Cardinals, 2-9-0 for the Braves. It's a final now. Florida beat the Giants 2-1. Giants have fallen on evil times. Jermaine Dye waits on deck. Line drive, fouled on the right side. 1-1 to Blauser. Jeff has flied to center, hit into a double play, 6-4-3, and grounded to third. So he's struggling again.
He'll go through a stretch where he really looks aggressive. Turn on an inside pitch, shoot an outside pitch to right field. But tonight he's had some at-bats where he's almost like he's playing semi-darkness, just kind of feeling for the ball at the plate.
He was up in the mid-260s. He's down to 247. 2 out, a runner at first. He reached on it, what was charged in air. Pop foul back. It's 1-2.
I've heard hitters say when you go through stretches like that where you don't see the ball well, it's almost like playing in a Class A ballpark where you got
Yeah, you swear the lights are dimmed, huh?
You got 9 guys who park around the outfield and turn on their headlights so you can play, and you're never really sure. You can't pick up the spin, and that's frustrating.
And though he was hitless tonight, Chipper Jones on Joe Simpson's radio interview with him talking about the flip side said, lately the ball looks like a softball coming up. Nobody knows why or how, but it happened. 2-2 to Blauser. Mike Pilecki is in the Atlanta bullpen. The 2-2 to Jeff. Got him. He knew it. Blauser called out on strikes, and the inning is over. First strikeout for Honeycutt. No hits, no runs, and there, 1 left. 8 innings have gone by. It's all St. Louis tonight. They lead at 8-2. We go to the 9th inning, and several changes for Atlanta here. Eddie Perez gets a look at first base now that Tanner Houston is no longer with us. Rafael Belliard gets in the game at shortstop. And Mike Pilecki is on to pitch. It's been a long time between drinks for Michael. He last pitched at New York on June the 10th, 2 weeks ago. But that's the role of the long reliever when you got a pitching staff where your starters go deep into the game virtually every night. Ray Langford leads it off. He's had a profitable night, 2 for 4, an RBI and 2 runs scored. Jason Schmidt and Todd Stottlemyre will duel here tomorrow night. And again, we'll have it for you at 7:35 right here on good old TBS. Pilecki goes to work. Right through there.
You'll see 2 similar styles of pitching tomorrow night. One has pretty much mastered it, and the other is just a step away from mastering it. Heavy, hard fastballs and some pretty good breaking stuff. Both can strike out a lot of guys.
Langford had a good cut, fouled it away. Mike is 0-2, a 4.26 earned run average. Langford is up to 279 now with a 2 for 4 night. He's gained 9 points. Spoils another one. The paid attendance, 31,971 tonight. 31971. Hot shot, base hit, right center field. Let's see if Dye can cut it off. Langford's going for 2. Jermaine's throw is strong. He is safe. Good throw, but Langford can really run. He shows you a pretty good gun out there in right field.
And an accurate one, too, but credit Langford with making this. He came up, Dye wasted no time. Watch the throw right on the money. But Langford took off out of the batter's box thinking 2, hit the bag at second, kicked it up a notch. Head first slide. Good throw, good tag. Nothing you can do about those.
A good call by Billy Hahn at second base in close play. Gary Gaetti, the batter. That's a strike on the outside edge. 0-1. Well, we hope the news will be better tomorrow night. Wednesday's game will be on Sports South. We'll be back with you on Thursday before the Braves hit the road. Have that channel changer at the ready on Wednesday night between the NBA draft and the Braves game. A lot going on.
And all those games will be on the far-flung Braves Radio Network.
Up the middle, had him played perfectly. 1 out. Braves getting big in the shift department. They had one on the other way for Gaetti, and it paid off. Runner at third, 1 out. Here's John Mabry. Jeff Parrott continues to throw in their bullpen. Then you give Jeff a little work. He's a former Brave. By the way, the veteran Willie McGee rolling right along, hitting over 300 as a part-time player for these guys. That's where it all started for him in St. Louis.
With the spring training as a non-roster player.
Hitting 316. Infield in, of course, for Atlanta. They have a little choice. 1 ball, no strike. 8-2 the score. Minnesota still has the Yankees shut out. 3-0 after 6. They play them tough. Let a pit pass Perez into right field. The run is in. A little icing on the cake. It's 9-2 St. Louis. Well, we'll tire him out running around the bases tonight and get him to move.
Happens a lot when the infield is in. It cuts down on the angle. Better chance for a base hit. Infield back. This is a ho-hum grounder. He had a good pitch. Eddie Perez. Chances are a little more turf time at first. He might have made that, but it's going to be a base hit and an RBI for Mabry.
And Miguel Mejia comes into the game to pinch hit for Brian Jordan. Not punishing Brian. He only had 6 RBIs from it. Mejia gets a shot. He is 0 for 7. And he fouls one away. It's 0-1. Mejia out of the Dominican last year hit 269 at High Desert, 298 at Bluefield. Acquired on a 3-way trade along with infielder Luis Ordaz from the Cincinnati Reds after being selected by the Kansas City Royals in the Rule 5 draft.
It's one of those deals where when you draft him, you have to offer him back or work out some sort of compensation. Well, they worked out something with Cincinnati.
And then don't you have to keep him on your roster all year?
You have to keep him on the roster all year. Or you have to put him back through waivers.
Well, they obviously feel this guy's got a chance to be a heck of a player down the road. Might be a pretty good player right now, but he lines a foul. A ball and 2 strikes.
Only 47 strikeouts last year in over 300 at-bats. So a pretty good contact hitter in the minor leagues.
The 1-2 pitch. Breaking ball outside. It's even now 2-2. White Sox beat the Angels 4-2 in the 6th. In the nightcap, California leads 3-2. After 4, Baltimore 2-0 over Texas. Detroit a run in the 1st, still batting at Oakland.
How about that Detroit pitching lately?
Yeah, isn't that great? I mean, really, that felt so badly for those guys.
I felt badly for Buddy Bell. Here's a guy getting his first shot at managing at the big league level. A good guy. Most people in agreement he's going to make a good manager, and then you start off like that. That's a lousy way to start your career as a manager.
3-2, strike 3 call. That might have been one of those. It's 9-2 calls. 2 down. Bilecki gets his first strikeout.
It also might have been one of those guessing ball 4 too. Javi Lopez sets up outside. Caught a lot of the plate.
Tom Pagnozzi, the batter. He's had a tough night of it. 0 for 4, 3 strikeouts. He had been a hot hitter. 357 in his last 31 games.
Probably no way you can ever document it, but I bet you give Tom Pagnozzi a lot of the credit for tonight's ball game because he appeared to be on Andy Bennis most of the night, challenging him keeping him pumped up.
He and Ozzie Smith made numerous visits to the line. Not stalling, just talking. 1-1 the count. Reds now 7-0 over the Phillies. Cincinnati batting in the bottom of the 8th. The Mets, Isringhausen pitched that game, didn't he? Beat Colorado 2-1. Yep. Montreal over Pittsburgh 11-3. We told you the Marlins beat the Giants 2-1. 1-1 pitch. Went fishing, didn't get it. It's 1-2.
I haven't heard that phrase in a long time.
What, 1-2?
You know, went fishing.
Oh.
Heard 1 and 2 a lot tonight. Went fishing.
One of the many cliches I pull out at
92 ball game.
hour of the night. He's got the golden sombrero now. His 4th strikeout of the night. How's that one? A run on 2 hits, 1 left. We go to the bottom half of that's the golden sombrero. We go to the bottom of the ninth. 9-2 Cardinals. We go to the bottom of the ninth. Jeff Parrott is on to pitch, and Miguel Mejia will stay in the game and play right field. It's 9-2 St. Louis. See how Jeff is doing this year. The former Brave, 2-2. 25th game, run average up there a little bit, 4.05. Jermaine Dyer leads it off. Dyer is 1 for 3. Danny Bautista on deck.
One of the things you will always find about a Tony La Russa, Dave Duncan pitching staff is you will have a few guys like Jeff Parrott, like Tony Fawcett, and like Rick Honeycutt. They like veteran pitchers that they can call on in this kind of role.
David Bell is at third, by the way, and backs up and fields and throws out Dye. 1 down. Here's Danny Bautista. Bautista hitting 158, but he's only batted 19 times, has 3 hits. And Dwight moves on deck. I'm a little surprised we didn't see Mark Whiten's debut in this spot. But we'll see him soon enough. 9-12-1 for the Cardinals. 2-9-0 for the Braves. Braves left 7 men on in the first 4 innings. Well, that makes it rough. The 1-0 pitch, here it is. Pop on the infield. Mabry calls for it. And in foul territory, makes the catch. 2-9. And Dwight Smith comes up in what is, in all likelihood, not the biggest spot of his fine career.
But a chance to get an AB against live Major League pitching. You can take all the swings you want against your coaches out there, but you really don't know if you've got it fine-tuned till you face Major League.
But nobody's ever taken a hack against dead Major League pitching.
Right you are, Skip Carey.
Thanks, Don. 1-0 the count. We almost made it. To the screen, 1-1.
We didn't mention sport code.
No, and nor are we going to. Jeff Parrott into the line. He's dealing. Breaking ball down and in. It's 2-1. Parrott out of Lexington, Kentucky. Upstairs, 3-1. Mark Lemke waits on deck. Dwight waits. There's the old ball game off. Ozzie will make the play. And it's over. Parrott gets him 1, 2, 3. And the Cardinals win the first of 4 in convincing fashion, 9-2.
You get a home run and 6 RBIs, there's a pretty good chance you got a shot at being the AutoZone player of the game. Brian Jordan 2 for 3, a 3-run homer, 6 RBIs. Here's the first 2 of his RBIs coming in the first inning. A liner that drove 2 across, helped the Cardinals put 3 on the board. Then in the 7th inning, an inning where they scored 4, watch this one get out of there. A 3-run homer, RBIs 4, 5, and 6. Brian Jordan, our AutoZone player of the game. We'll be back for the totals right after we take a timeout. Cardinals win the first of 2 here. 9-2 is your score. 9 runs on a dozen hits, 1 error, and 7 stranded for the Cardinals. The Braves 2 runs, 9 hits, no errors, 8 stranded, 7 coming in the first 4 innings when the Braves had a chance to catch up and to put something on the board, but they couldn't push them across, so the Cardinals end up winning it. Bennis is the winner. He is now 5-8. John Smoltz's record falls to 14-2. 2 hours and 39 minutes and a good crowd of 31,971. Reload and try it again tomorrow.
At 7:35, and we'll have it for you at TBS. Coming up next, Don is probably prominently featured in this program. It's the 50th greatest home runs.
I'll be there a lot.
Followed at 10:35 by Matlock the Don, starring Andy Griffith. For Don Sutton, Pete Van Wert, and Joe Simpson, our entire TBS crew, Skip Carey from the ballpark. See you tomorrow. So long, everybody.